Shush. I start. Get off! You always do that. Every night when we sat on the sofa, you throw your project bag right on me. I do not want your project bag over here. It's not fair.
No, if we put that there, that then separates our areas. So I'll stay in this area.
Do I ever put my stuff all over you?
Welcome to episode 35.
35?
Oh, the echo's back.
I've told you before I always do that and I try not to repeat
It's
you.
fine. I don't mind.
No,
Then you were
I'm
supposed
not.
to say, I don't mind.
See, I'm not going to do it. I do that all the time. It's a design fault of me.
Would you believe it's episode 35?
35?
Way! Every time. I can't believe it.
I can't believe. What is this significant?
No, it just feels like quite a big figure.
It's quite a lot, isn't it? 35.
It really is. I would never have thought we'd have got to 10
No.
back when we'd done episode 2,
No.
which is amazing. It's great to be here though.
It is. It feels like forever. We've all been ill.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why it feels like ages.
maybe, but there's been lots going on. So much has happened.
It has. Yeah.
It's been, I was thinking that actually this morning when I woke up. I had a really funny moment when I woke up. That sounds odd. Because I woke up and I just felt, I think I slept too heavy. And I just thought, there's no way I can get out and do a run today. And as Kay mentioned, we've all been a little bit ill with colds, and I think it's still rumbling around a little bit, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, Bryony's still got this sort of lingering cough, and I've got this irritating little tickly cough still. And you still sound a bit nasally.
Yeah.
So I think it is still sort of
So
lingering.
I suspect that's probably why I slept heavy.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I got up, and in the process of getting up, I went from I'm definitely not going for a run to I'm going for a run.
Right.
And I think it's one of those moments when, I've probably mentioned this before, it's the times when you think that you're not going, that you should always go, because that's when you get the most from it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I did go, because it was really, really good. And actually that links beautifully to a section later on in the show, because this episode in the What's on Your Stereo, I'm actually...
Oh, there's some good ones.
There is. We're going to be focusing, because this is of course Back to the Future month.
It is.
30 years ago, I
Yeah.
sat down to watch a film that made me think about this year.
Yeah.
And wonder what I'd be doing this
Yeah,
year. And I can
yeah.
tell you that I would never have guessed all the things that's happened. But who could have? You know, when you were 15, no, I wasn't even 15.
You were
30
10.
years ago, I was
You were
10.
10.
Of course I was 10, and that brings on to something else. As a 10-year-old, what would we have thought we would all be doing?
In 30
And where
years,
will we be in 30 years?
30 years just seemed like forever when you're 10, doesn't it?
Well, it's masses of time.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, going to see the film, because it had such an effect, as you all know, you know, I wonder where life will have taken me, and you know, what I will have done. And actually, in a slightly reflective mode, I have absolutely no regrets, and it's been an amazing ride, don't you think?
There's things I would have done differently, I think.
So would everyone.
Yeah.
But that's
I don't
what
regret,
living is about.
No, I don't regret anything. Because if you regret things, then, you know, that's like saying you wouldn't be where you are now if things had been different. You wouldn't necessarily have followed that path.
You could easily,
So-
though, I think we're very lucky in the fact that we have had extremely interesting and exciting lives.
My life was pretty boring until I met you, I've got to say.
Well, I think that brings you on to another thing, and that is, you have lots of opportunities, don't you, in life, to take pathways, and there is always a safe road, and there is always...
The Daniel Road was definitely not my safe route.
Well, I can tell you, having tread on it for the last 40 years, It's not. It's never been safe.
No, it definitely was the more...
That's not to say I'm not a risk taker though. Not really.
No, but...
The difference with us is what were we described once? A solid unit or something or other.
Yeah, and I think we are. Yeah, we definitely are.
I think when you give yourself a solid grounding, and I've always said this to you, the reason why lots of cool things have happened since we've been together is, I think, when you give yourself a solid grounding, a bit like when you build a house, whatever you build on top of it, even if some of it falls down and you have to rebuild a bit of it, so long as the foundations are secure, then everything that goes on above.
Philosophical.
You get what I'm saying there?
I do. Yeah, I do. The biggest wind in our relationship, in our journey. I don't use that word.
Because you're saying,
sounds like we're on the X Factor.
bend in the road. What was the biggest bend? As we've been described many
I've got
times.
songs running around my head today. I've got Solid as a Rock now running in my head.
That's our theme tune. Who sang that, Kate?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it may have been Stead Simpson.
I have no idea who that even is. So, who?
Stead Simpson.
Stead and Simpson.
Yes.
Is that a shoe shop?
No, that's Stead Simpson, isn't it?
Stead and... I've never heard of them. No.
Stead Simpson. Anyway, go on.
But anyway, I think it was starting our own business was...
The biggest wind in the road.
I think
That was a hard...
that was a huge decision at the time.
Yeah.
Because, we've got a family and it was a massive thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there was also, Bryony when she was little and she had problems with her walking. She didn't walk till she was 3. That was a huge thing because that went on until she was almost 7. She might have even been 7 when we finally got the second opinion and everything was okay. But then, of course, there's been the last year.
See, you could argue...
There's so...
You could argue that the biggest wind in the road has been the podcast and what's happened.
During the last year, that's what I meant when I said the last year.
I don't even mean my health.
Right.
I mean the decision we took.
With
when
the podcast.
we started, that was... Primarily, well, not primarily, I'm meaning when we started the Patreon campaign.
Yeah, that was massive decision. Because we went from one extreme to the other extreme with what we were going to do. Yeah. And we had many conversations, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that led us down one path and then led us down the other one. It was such a difficult thing to decide to do because there wasn't really any precedent that we could look at.
No. I think that the hardest decision from my point of view was the options on the table were so awful because there's no way mentally and physically that I could have gone back and done what I'd done before.
No, work-wise.
Yes.
No.
And also as well, I don't think mentally you could have dealt with me suddenly disappearing.
Being away for days on end each week.
Yeah. And also then the other option is, okay, so throw away the business that we built and we just go out and get jobs.
Yeah, then we went down that route, didn't we?
And that as an option, given the fact, I still think that there is quite some time of emotional recovery for us.
Yeah.
Not to say, we're happy as Larry. It's not like we're sat here feeling...
Oh no.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. We feel very lucky. I feel very lucky at the moment.
But I think that we rely massively on each other. And I think that is a direct come back from the whole chemo and the whole cancer and that whole thing. Do you think?
It is, because it's a terrifying thing to go through. And, I know there are lots and lots of people out there who have gone through very similar things. It is completely terrifying. And I think it does take time to recover from that. Much longer than you will ever anticipate that it takes.
The mental... it's not scars. They're not scars. It's just changes.
No, and
the mental changes that happen are far more life-changing than the illness itself.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think I'm a totally different person.
Yeah.
And I think that you're a very different person too.
Yeah,
But I'll be honest, I like who we are.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah.
So I think that brings us full circle back to the whole reason why we're here. And that's the podcast. And
Yeah.
I think we must thank everyone who has got behind us from day one of the Patron campaign, and also everyone who has ever watched us and supported us.
Absolutely.
Because without your initial support in watching and engaging with us, we just wouldn't have ever thought that this was something that we were remotely good at, and that people would be remotely interested in.
I still can't believe people are interested in watching me.
Getting involved. Huge thanks to all our patrons who have got us to the brink of milestone 1. And when we get through milestone 1, I mean, we've already done a load of the things which we promised, because we wanted to repay the patrons who were getting on board straight away, to show them that we were totally committed to making this our future. But when we hit milestone 1, we have just been talking about what we're going to be doing, and the podcast is going to go onto iTunes. And
Sally.
Yes.
I know Sally will be sat there rejoicing.
If you have an Android device, you can get the Podbean app, and you can subscribe to us that way and download the episodes that way. And also, from everything I've read, the Podbean app will feed iTunes.
Right.
So if you have an Apple device, you can get it through iTunes, or you can also get the Podbean app. So that does seem like the right option. Right. So that people, that is going to happen in the next few weeks, because we're like $25 away. And that milestone was the milestone, that was the one that we needed to get through to secure our future, to show us that we can continue to commit the time we had been committing to make it. And so part of us may be worried that it maybe might not happen, but it has happened. Or it's like that far away. Maybe we're through it already.
I can still barely believe it, really.
And if you think what we've done so far has been cool, but by taking that pressure off of us needing to juggle 2 jobs effectively,
which we do still do, we do still do.
But taking that pressure off is going to just throw open the boundaries with regards to creativity. And our future milestones, so we've got milestone 2 and milestone 3, and our future milestones included things like collaborative work with other podcasters. And that, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, is already planned.
Indeed.
With the SOC petition, and also an unnamed podcast at present. Which Kay is very excited about, and so am I, and you will be. In 2016, get ready for it. But also as well, what's been so cool with the patrons has been being able to talk to people about ideas for the podcast. Someone contacted me the other day with just the best idea for favourite places to knit, and we will do that as soon as...
Have you told me?
No, I haven't, and I'm not going to. I've been getting some...
I just tag along,
I've been getting some feedback with the approach that we took to Robin Hood with the whole myth thing, and people seem to really like the exploring of stories and the spreading.
It was fun doing that.
So rather than just go and do one visit and focus on the story of that particular place and then move on to the next, we'll take a story and we will visit places all linked to that story, and the story will spread over. So that's how we're gonna attack favourite places to knit next year. Come on, I thought this was a knitting podcast. Do you remember when we had that comment on the video?
We did, ages and ages ago, didn't we? Saying, thought this was meant to be a knitting podcast.
And I'm sure that was a blooming thumbs down. And
I was mortified.
What was so great though was that people really sort of jumped in and defended.
I like to think we have lots of knitting content, really.
I sit and edit it, and all I'm ever doing is doing close-ups on projects.
So should we get on with it?
I think we should get on with the knitting content.
Should we get on with it?
What's on your needles?
Oh, I've got new projects this time. I have. And lots. I've got that much to say actually this time that I've even made notes, which never ever happens. Dan's a bit worried.
What you should do now is you should be like, people have got no idea.
Don't hold that side of me planner up, it's all messy. It's in my planner, which, you know, Sally,
She's reading off a script.
You know, that's the messy side, and that's a design idea I had the other
That's the
day.
finished side. I've dealt with that side.
Yeah. My first lovely project, it's a new cast on, and it's a pair of socks, and I don't know whether I even said or if I'd even ordered it on the last podcast. I can't remember now, but I ordered some yarn from Molly from the Homespun House. You know, she'd started yarn dyeing, and I thought, oh, I'll go and have a look. And she did a colourway that I just thought, oh my god, because Molly's sort of colour palette is very similar to mine really. She loves pinks and purples and blues, and you know, it's very similar. And she did a particular colourway for Halloween, and I'd got in my head that I wanted to knit some socks for Halloween.
Allerton.
Yeah, Brian used to call it Allerton. So I saw this colourway, I thought, oh, I'm going to get it. And the base was one of my favourite bases for socks. It's a superwash BFL and nylon. It's her Olsen fingering, which makes me think of Nellie Olsen from Little House on the Prairie. 438 yards, and the colourway I'm using is called This Is Halloween. That's Molly's lovely little cards as well, aren't they pretty? I think they're super lovely. So this is the colour that I'm using. Oh, look at that. Can you see the little orange specks in there? So it's this beautiful purple, but it's a pink leaning purple, which I love, because a lot of purples are blue leaning, aren't they? They're a colder sort of purple. This one's got lots of pink in it as well as purple, you know, so it's got shades of purple running down to even like a lavender purple, right through to like a violet, and then there's a pinky purple, these little specks of orange, there's little specks of grey I think as well she might have put in there. It's really lovely and just perfect I think for Halloween. So I've started a pair of blueberry waffle socks, and you might notice I'm knitting Magic Loop. I'm back on Magic Loop. I have got two other pairs of socks on the needles that I was knitting both of them on DPNs, and for some reason I just wasn't working on them. And I think maybe I got to the point where I needed to just have another little change. So these ones I'm knitting on Magic Loop, and I'm really enjoying it again. So I think it's great that, you know, you've got these options with sock knitting, haven't you? And I've never tried the 2 circulars. So I mean, that might be something that I look at in future. But at the minute I'm really enjoying Magic Loop again. So I'm doing blueberry waffle, yay! Look how blue my nails are today, they're a bit mad, aren't they? So there's my lovely sock, my blueberry waffle. And do you know this whole dilemma that I've been having with the needle size? I have now fully decided that my socks are going to be knit on 2.25s. Because I went through all my socks that I've knit, and I realised that the ones that I wear the most and that wear the best and that fit the best are the ones I've knit on 2.25s. I looked back on my Ravelry notes. So this is it from now on. My socks are knit on 2.25s and Dan's are on 2.5s. So there we go. So there's my lovely blueberry waffle, and when Molly sent me the package, she sent me something extra which I'll talk about in Endy Bits. Amazing package, Molly, thank you. But she also sent me some of her little progress keepers, and can you see that one's a little sheep? It's so cute. She sent me 3 of them, and I've actually got them on 3 socks at the minute. So that's my lovely socks. It's 2.25s. This is I'm sure it's Knit Pro Nova, which I really like, these needles. They're very well priced. The tips are pointy, the cable's nice. You know, I have absolutely no complaints about these ones at all. And I'm loving this pattern. I'm loving this pattern with the yarn. Isn't it pretty? So, and you know, it's lovely yarn. So I would say, you know, if you're thinking about giving Molly's yarn a go, do it, because it's super lovely. So yeah, so that's my first project.
Have you finished?
I think so. I think I've spoken enough about that one. Dan Jones?
Yes.
What's on your needles? You've nearly finished it.
Yeah, I have. I was desperately trying to get this finished. Yeah, it's a sock. And everything was going great with this sock until I had to
What were you doing?
doing the gusset decreases into knitting the leg,
Foot.
the foot, and I had to
Oh, right.
do something with the DPNs. Not the DPNs, the magic loop. I wouldn't have had that problem if I'd been on DPNs, would I?
No.
No. So
It's
that's
where
one
you
of those.
change the point of the round. Do you know when you've done the gusset decreases? Because when you're working the gusset decreases, your end of round changes from sort of flat across your sock to heel to toe.
I understood exactly what I needed to do.
Yeah,
What I
but you
didn't
couldn't
know,
jiggle it
what I didn't know
around.
was how to manage that,
Yeah.
and I'm still not sure.
Right. Well, I'll show you the next time.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do your next pair on DPNs, you might want to.
Maybe.
You might give it a go.
I think you've thrown down the gauntlet. We should have
You
a
might
gauntlet.
find it easier working
We should have a glove.
because the good thing about working a sock on DPNs is you don't need stitch markers,
No.
which I really like that aspect of it. You know, you don't have to think about the stitch markers for your gusset decreases.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say.
You know, you don't have any of the... Taking them out, darling. You don't have any of the jiggling around of anything that we've just spoke about.
Well, it is, of course, everyone knows, because it takes me 18 years to finish anything. But I knit every night.
You do. Well, we both do, but
Yeah.
some nights, to be fair, the past couple of weeks, some nights, we've both been really tired, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we've just, that's what I said, you know.
Because we party
Oh, we do.
so hard.
Just being
You should see what we're drinking at the moment.
Cup of tea.
What's it by? Who's the company who makes that shandy?
Oh, it's lovely. You
It's
should
really.
get it. You
I
should get one
spotted
out.
it. I spotted it, and I thought that's going to be nice because that's a
Oh,
proper
it's really
beer
nice.
company. It's a Belgian beer.
It's 0.9% alcohol. It's
which
nothing,
is a bit racy
you
for us,
know.
to be honest.
It's nothing.
Normally the maximum alcohol that we'll drink is 0.1%. It's lemonade that's been shown to lager and then taken away. That was that Shandy Bass stuff.
That's not even lager, that's beer.
It's
though,
like
isn't
they've just a tea pipette with
Yeah,
a
I think so. I even tried to get Brownie to try some yesterday, but she was like, I'm not having beer. I said there's hardly a drop in it.
Yeah, the turning of the heel and sorting that out, and I was a bit frustrated about that, to be honest, because I wanted to just get it finished without any help at all. But I still needed a tiny bit of help, which was a bit annoying. But I'm on the toe decreases now, and I mean, I'll probably get that done in a minute, and then
You will?
I'll weave it in later. I won't do that now.
But it's Kitchener, it.
Yeah, Kitchener. Sorry. So yes, I was thinking maybe I should do blueberry waffle sock.
Oh, they're lovely.
Yes.
I love blueberry waffle socks.
Yeah.
I am kind of addicted to patterns with socks at the minute. I've said this before, but that have a 4-row repeat of a really simple texture pattern in this case.
Yeah.
Because it just keeps you going.
Yeah.
They go so much quicker for me than
Yeah.
just going round and round and round and round.
Yeah.
Because I think, oh right, I've done another 4. Okay, I'll do another repeat before I get up and do this or whatever.
Yeah.
It just go quicker, I think.
What's your favourite yarn for sock knitting?
Everybody knows this.
Well, it's opal.
No.
Oh.
Well, I love opal. No, I've said several billion times what my favourite yarn for sock knitting is.
What is
you
it?
can't remember, can you?
No.
It's the Uncommon Thread Tough Sock.
There we go. And why do you like that so much?
I love it so much because it's a BFL nylon for starters, which I love. BFL is my favourite yarn base, I think, BFL. The colours are lovely, they're beautiful. It's a tonal yarn. It's not variegated, it's more of tonal colours, but the colours are lovely. But my favourite thing about it is it makes the most fantastic socks I have ever worn. And I've got 3 pairs of them now. But it just makes the most fantastic socks. They're super hard wearing, but really, really cushy, you know, just fantastic. I can't tell you. And, you know, I kind of wear them. I don't wear them all the time because I don't want to wear them out. But even the very first pair that I made, gosh, 2 years ago plus probably, absolutely no sign of wearing through at all.
You really like opal though as well, don't you?
I love opal.
So that'd be your second favourite, yeah?
Probably, yeah. And I don't possess a pair of opal socks for myself. I've never knit myself a pair of opal socks, which is slightly
Yes, because you're hogging all the
ridiculous.
uncommon thread.
Probably is, yeah.
So I was just wondering,
Yeah.
what else is on your needles?
Oh, well, it's another sock, and
Well,
it's another new
how
cast-on
exciting.
sock. Well, this one is majorly exciting.
Prepare yourselves.
If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this yarn. But back in, I think it was July, I had this idea for Dan's birthday.
Oh.
I asked...
My birthday?
Your birthday, which is just...
Did I hear you say birthday?
And so I contacted Deb at Fondant Fibre and I asked her if she would do something for me for Dan's birthday. And what I wanted her to do was to dye up a special colourway based on Hadrian's Wall. And she said, yeah, she'd love to do that because she's Deb and she's fabulous. So I said... He wanted to drive to school with these on
I
his
could have done
birthday.
it. I could have done
You
it.
can imagine what I said to him. So,
I feel like Dame Edna Everage.
you'd look like Dame Edna Everage. So I sent her a load of photos of Hadrian's Wall. I just let her get on with it, you know. And she sent, I actually got the yarn. I would have got the yarn on Dan's birthday, but we went out and we were out for most of the day, weren't we?
More about that later.
Yeah, and I missed the postman. And I didn't know she was sending it, so I didn't know what this parcel was, but I went very first thing the next morning on the way to school and picked it up. When I saw it was from her, she'd written on it, you know, Kay Jones, top secret. I was like, oh, I know what this is, I know what this is. And I walked home from the sorting office, which is about 20 minutes, and I was walking like this, because I was so excited. And it's just amazing.
It is.
It is amazing. So she dyed up this yarn for me and she asked me what bases I liked and I said, oh, I love BFL.
Well, I like Olympics. They play... Oh, sorry. I get you now.
So I said, oh, I love BFL. And again, just left it to her. And I think both of these bases that I've got, I think they're new to a shop. I think I've got that right, Deb. And this is what she called it. I hope you can see, yeah, you can see that. Valum Hadriani. How cool! And it's BFL and nylon, 400 metres. And this is the colour, and oh, I'm just absolutely in love with this yarn. Oh, can you see? You can see, I mean, that's coming across really well. I did put some pictures on Instagram, but I was worried it wasn't showing up particularly well, the colours. It's like a speckly, tonal, just gorgeous. It's like a sort of pale mossy green, I suppose, is the background colour. But then it's got all these specks of like a darker green, browns, little bits of kind of a pinky sort of rusty colour. Just absolutely gorgeous yarn. Really, really beautiful. And the good news is, Debbie's going to dye some up for a shop.
Yay! It's really great.
I'm not sure when it'll be in, but I'm sure she will Instagram it, so just keep an eye on it for it. And this is, so I'm knitting a sock for Dan. And again, I'm magic looping. I'm just, you know, I think I'll just switch between the two, you know. And I think it just keeps it fresh as well. Because I think we all get a kind of bored of doing the same thing over and over, don't you?
Yes.
But I think it just I think it just keeps... Is that why you've knit 25,000 bankheads?
No. You're linking beautifully to my next What's on Your Needles.
Oh, right, okay. So this is my sock and where I'm up to. Oh, look at that. Isn't it fabulous? And as you can see, I've put in a contrast heel. I've used the same yarn actually that I used on Dan's opal socks, the last one. Because when I looked at it, it just matches so perfectly. And I think it brings out the greeny tones in the yarn. And this one is the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply in cardamom, I think it is.
Oh, now that is a herb you don't want to bite into in a curry.
I don't like cardamom. So this sock I'm doing, and I almost did another blueberry waffle because it's like Hadrian's Wall. I wanted a bit of texture. But then when I started knitting the rib, I thought... Well, I said to you, I'd love to, when I finish these socks, go up to the wall and take a picture of them, on, you know, laying on the wall. I decided I've not done a full blueberry waffle, I've done a partial waffle. So I did 3 rows knit, 1 row knit 2 purl 2, instead of like 2 rows knit, 2 rows knit, knit 2 purl 2. And I think it's just giving it a bit of texture, And it does look a bit blueberry waffleish, doesn't it? But not a full blueberry. It's just a tiny blueberry.
It's not fully bloomed.
No. And I like it, you know, and again, it's the 4-row repeat thing. You know, and I cast this on not long ago, really. It was the day that I got the yarn. I was like, I've got to cast that on. I said to Deb, I'm going to rush through my work today. I'm going to pile through it really quick so I can cast it on today, which I did. I managed to do. So I'm on the gusset decreases at the minute, as you can see. Lovely, lovely. So I'm absolutely loving it. I can't wait to get those finished for you.
That's wonderful news.
Oh, is it?
Have you finished?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, it's my. Sorry, I was about to ask you again.
What else is on your needles?
Well, you see, I need you to lift my spirits.
Right.
Because of this.
You've not done very much on that, I've got to say.
Oh, do you know what?
I think you need to just get on with it a bit more, honestly.
Oh.
Why is it
Right,
so painful?
I
It's
knit-
just knits and pearls.
I knit on this, right, loads. I went on it really hard.
You've not even finished the...
But don't dispute the fact, for 3 or 4 nights, I just knit on this. And that is what's there.
It's because...
Do you know what stopped me knitting on
Garter
this?
stitch does take longer for you to get that length. Do you know what I mean? It takes longer, doesn't it?
So
than
I posted a
stocking
picture,
stitch.
right? I posted a picture, and I don't think I've ever posted a picture. Someone's going to call me out on this now, but maybe the last one. I can't remember. But I've tried to be really positive when I posted pictures about this, and then someone put underneath, if you just got on with it, you'd get it
Did
over
they?
with or something or other. No thanks. No, I don't mean I'm not doing it. I mean I'm just going to knit on some of the stuff for a bit. And Kay summed it up there a minute ago. You just said we all get a bit bored when we just do the same things over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, I do understand, because I'm knitting something else for as a pot project actually at the minute, a hat. And
So if you want to see that, you need to tune into Pop next
yeah.
Friday.
And I've not done very much on it, and it's just a plain stocking stitch. It's a bit like a sock head, but not quite. And it's the same for me with that. I should have done another kind of bank head one, I think,
Yeah.
to try and just spur me on.
The yarn is really lovely, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for the wonderful Erica Luda for making this
Yes.
wonderful yarn and sending it to us. The yarn is great, actually, between the fingers. Really, really nice.
Right.
Do you not find, isn't it funny how some yarns
Yes.
feel good and some yarns don't
Yes.
feel good? And I want to knit with yarns that feel good.
Yeah.
And this feels good.
It's very squishy.
And also, I mean, look at it.
It's lovely.
It's
a beautiful colour.
That's what's so hard. This will be a nice. I mean, it'll be a nice
For
garment.
me.
No, it's not. This will be a nice garment, and I can see that. I can see that. So it's clearly a good pattern. It's clearly a good idea, but not if you wear it floppy, and not if you're knitting it because it's boring.
Right.
That's a nice bag.
Oh, I love this bag.
Stitched by Sasha.
I love this bag so much. You won't have seen it on the last podcast because Dan edited it out, but the postman came and this parcel came as we were recording, but you edited it out. I didn't open it or anything, but it just arrived. And I've done a couple of swaps recently with some lovely bag makers in America.
I think I edited it out because you have a tendency to get someone's package with their address and I go, oh, I'll just show it quickly.
I might have
Never
done
thinking that someone could just pause it, write down the address,
I
and then
might
go
have
around
done
and
that.
rob their house.
That is true, Sasha. I might have done that, so that is probably why I edited it out. The first one that I got was Sasha's parcel. It's stitched by Sasha. If you know of her bags, it's lovely Sasha who lives in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
Anyway, this parcel arrived and oh, I love this bag so much. Look! Is that not fantastic, and is that not completely me? It's just the most beautifully made bag. And then not only did she send me one bag, she sent me 2 bags plus 2 little box bags. The other bag, I have got a project in where it's a pop project, so you'll see that on the pop podcast. Look at these little box bags. Is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen in your whole life? And the most amazing thing about this swap was that I actually have used this fabric and this range of fabrics, previously I've used it and I had a little bit of it left. So what I did was I made myself a little matching DPN holder. Look, it's the same as what, So our taste in fabrics are very, very similar. Okay, so in my lovely bag, I've got my Girly Whirly blanket. It was the absolutely perfect bag for this project because of the pinkness and the girliness of it. So that's what I've got in here. And I'll show you, I've done a fair bit since, I know last time I only had 6 squares, and now I have got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 squares of Girly Whirly loveliness. So this is where I'm up to now. Look at that. How cool is it? And I know a couple of people have started their own Girly Whirly blankets. I think I saw one person who'd picked a load of blues out because that was their favourite colour, and then I saw that Sarah from Love Sock Wool had, you know, she was doing exactly the same, the pinks and the purples, so that was really thrilling to see, you know, that she wanted to start one as well. So this is that, like I said, that's where I'm up to. And I just last night put in those two. That one is a very special mini skein I got from my lovely friend Sally. She went to, I don't know if I said this, but Sally lives in California, and she visited Santa Cruz fairly recently, a few weeks ago. It probably is now, Sally, isn't it? Time goes so quick. And I said to her, oh my gosh, you've got to go into the Yarniac shop. It's not the Yarniac shop. It's the Swift Stitch in Santa Cruz, and it's where Charlene works from the Yarniacs. I said, oh, you've got to go in, and if Charlene's there, you've got to say hello from me. So she did go in, but fortunately Charlene was on holiday. But she picked me up a mini skein of, it's one of the Madeline Tosh unicorn tails. It doesn't tell you the colourway names on the things, which is a bit of a thing, but it's a beautiful deep purple, can you see? So somebody out there who knows Madeline Tosh colours might be able to tell me what colourway that is, because I love it, it's beautiful. So that one went in last night. That's the one from Molly. This, you know, before I started my socks, I added a square into my blanket. I had to do that first. I think I'd only got these 6 here on the bottom done, hadn't I? So all these ones are new. And then these 2 I added last night. I think that one might be a Regia. And then that one's the Mad Tosh, as I said. And I've woven in my ends mainly. All those ones are woven in. And I'm just loving it. I'm having to kind of limit myself.
The weaving in ends tutorial just came out yesterday.
Oh yeah, I just did a tutorial for weaving in ends, yeah.
A request, I can't recall, I apologise, I can't recall who requested it, but we bumped it to the top of the list because a few people requested it. So.
But I kind of, when I work on my blankets, I kind of feel guilty for some reason, like I should be doing something else, which is stupid, isn't it? You know, if that's what you want to work on, then that's what you should work on. So these are all my lovely minis, and I got this package just last week from lovely Jeanette, who is Jints65. I was just looking that up, that's what I thought it was, Jints65 on Instagram. She just sent me, again, I wasn't expecting it, she just sent me this lovely package out of the blue with loads of Knitting Goddess minis in, and I've put 2 of them in already, Jeanette. That's the 2 I've put in. I've still got those ones to go in. Aren't they beautiful? And you know, they're huge minis, they're 10 grams. So I can get probably 4 minis, 4 squares out of each one. And because they are sort of semi-solids, I'll be able to use those, scatter them, you know, throughout to break up the variegated squares. So I'm trying, when I get sent little parcels like that, I'm trying to sort of keep them together so I know who they were from as I knit them in. So that's all my lovely pink minis in there, and I'm absolutely loving it. And a few people have been asking me, maybe people who haven't seen, you know, previous podcasts, what my stitch number is and things like that. So I cast on 31 and I use 2.5mm DPNs. I'm just using the Sunstrucks at the minute. I really like those ones. That's my lovely blanket, and I just love the fact that it's in this bag as well. The whole thing is just perfect for me, and I'm keeping in my little box bag, I've got a pair of scissors, and my darning needle is in there.
What else is on my needles? I hear you cry.
I did cry that.
I thought you did. It's
Oh, I love that one. Look at that one from Amber. Oh, it's so nice. Amber just sends me the most amazing parcels. Amber, thank you so much.
It's the fondant fibre yarn.
Fondant fibre.
Yeah. Well, she messaged me. She's changing.
Is that how she says it now?
She's changing the enunciation of the. She wants it to be fondant fibre. Don't know why. It's the blueberry waffles hat, and it's very nice. Yeah, I like it. I don't like it as much as a bankhead.
No,
I like it.
I realise that.
It makes me want to knit a bankhead. I will continue to search for. I think I should search for a collection of hat patterns that all feel, and maybe not just hat patterns, maybe any patterns, and they should all feel like the bankhead patterns, as good as you do, and
I mean, I have a collection of patterns like
that just flows.
Yeah,
everyone says it. You know, I only saw this morning someone had done something with a bankhead, and link me in on Instagram, and they were saying, you know, how it just flows, and I think that's when you know you've nailed it.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Hermione's everyday socks, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're exactly the same.
So the yarn is Deb's. It is. Look at that. Deeply meaningful. I don't know what's wrong with my speaking. No. It's all gone wrong. It's. Oh no, I can't remember what SW means.
You don't know what SW means. Should I help him? What do you think it could be? It's SW.
This could be a knit or forfeit question.
SW merino and nylon. Oh, I could have made socks out of that.
I don't know what it means. Tell me.
Superwash.
Oh, would you believe it? Superwash. Of course, it's superwash. So yeah, enjoying the pattern, enjoying the yarn, and
there might be enough left for me to make a short pair of socks if I use a contrast heel.
There'll definitely be enough.
Because it's got nylon in it. I really want to.
Do it. You know you want to.
I can even do contrast cuffs, heels and toes, couldn't I? To make sure I got enough yarn.
Absolutely.
My last project is my main sock yarn blanket. I don't really know. I don't really know what to call all these things because I've got that many on the go now. Again, the lovely Amber saw that I'd knit in 2 minis from the 2 Harry Potter opal yarns that she very kindly sent me. We did a little swap, and I'd knit 2 of those squares into my blanket. When she saw I'd done that, she said, "Oh, I've got all the other colourways of the Harry Potters. I'll send you some minis out of them." I was like, Amber, you've no idea the joy that our conversations bring me. It's just ridiculous. So what I did was, when I knew the next day she posted them. The next day, she's just amazing. So I thought, right, I'm going to put my blanket away until they come, because I wanted them all in a little section together, all of the Harry Potter opal yarns, which you can't get anymore. I know a few people have been asking, where can you get them? They're discontinued, so they do occasionally pop up as de-stashes, not very often. You might get them on eBay. So I've got them all in now, so I wanted to show you. So those 2 there were the 2 that I knit in. Now, this is I'm going to struggle to remember each of the colourways, but I think this one was Harry and Ron, this one was Harry, and then these are the other ones. So there was 8 altogether. I didn't realise there was quite so many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there was 8 colourways altogether. And it was from the Goblet of Fire, which I haven't seen and I haven't read. So I put all the other ones in. Look, I'll hold it. So I'll put one finger on one side. Can you see all of those opal ones in between here? That's all of the lovely Harry Potter yarns. Oh, don't they look lovely together? And I love that I've got this little section, because I thought, if I just scatter them randomly around, I'm not going to remember which one is which. But if I put them all together in a little row, it's like another little memory within my memory blanket, of them all together. And these were the other ones, and she labelled them all up with her lovely little labels. So this is what I've got left, and I've still got loads left. Look at the little, look, aren't they lovely? And the great thing about opal for this sort of blanket is, because the colour repeats are quite long, the next time I use these, it's like sweets, isn't it? The next time I use these, the colours will be different. So, I might, again, at some point a little bit further up, I might just put another little row of them, because I know they're going to look a bit different this time. And so the colourways, there was Harry and Ron, Harry, Dumbledore, Ron Weasley, Hedwig, Draco, and Tonks. Oh, there was another one. There was Lupin was the other one. I think it's just fantastic. I just love them. The thing that puzzles me about this range of yarn is why didn't they do a Hermione? I find that really strange that they didn't do a Hermione. Because, you know, she's in all of the films, obviously. And she's one of the main characters. And yet they did sort of more random characters like Tonks and Lupin, who were... I mean, I don't know them as well because I don't particularly like the very later Harry Potters. They're a bit dark for me. But they're not the main characters, are they? You know, regular main characters. Where's Hermione? Why is there no Hermione? If anybody knows the answer to that, then please let me know. I'm always puzzle over that. So Amber, thank you so much for that. I can't tell you how much it thrilled me to knit all those in. It was just... I just absolutely loved it. So this is where I'm at with the whole thing now. I'll just show you. Oh, look. I know you can't see me, but hopefully you can see the whole blanket.
I mean, just forget about the man who's trying to knit.
I'm sorry. Isn't it fabulous? Oh, I just love it. And what I've done, because I always say every time, oh, I've no idea where I was before, I thought, right, I'm not having this. So I'm using this little book, and I've made, every time we record a podcast, I've made a little note of how many squares I'm at. So next time I will know how many I've knit into each of the blankets, and then I can let you know. And I might
isn't
even...
that lovely?
Well, yeah. And it's a nice little record for me then, isn't it? Because I've got 3 of these blankets on the go at the minute. There's a Girly Whirly, there's this one, which is not the Girly Whirly, and then I've got a worsted weight one on the go, which is a pop project, so I'm not going to show you that. And I asked people for suggestions for names for that, and Liz Farley-Metzger said for better or worsted. I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
I might use that. I like that. This made me think about the whole feeling guilty for working on this, and I thought, I know that Sally from Wool Diaries did a couple of week-long kind of blanket madness things, didn't she, where she said to everybody, try and, you know, just knit as many squares on your blanket as you can in this particular week. And I didn't manage to do that either of the weeks. So I thought, maybe we'll do that. You've finished that, haven't you? I just thought, do you know, should we do that maybe? And not be able to do it before we go away, but I thought maybe we might do it the first week in November, and just for a week, you know, just release everybody from the commitments of whatever you are knitting. And everybody just work on their blankets for a
That's
week.
actually quite nice.
Well, thank you. That's generous. So we might do that, do you think? Let me know in the episode thread if you'd like to do that. And because I thought, what could we call this particular week? Should it be like blanket indulgence or blanket mania, or I don't know.
Blanket mania is better than blanket indulgence.
Yeah, blanket mania. Maybe that's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
Hashtag Blanket Mania. And I thought about it starting on the 1st of November, which is a Sunday, and finishing on the following Sunday. So you could, what my idea was, is that you take a picture of your blanket, or blankets in my case, on the 1st of November and make a note of how many squares you've done, and then again take a picture on the 8th of November with how many squares you've knit in that week. It's just a for fun thing. I mean, we'll have a thread. But then I thought, you know, we'll see at the end of it who's knit the most, and then I might just send them a little something just to say, you know, well done for knitting the most. Well, if Sarah Hepworth joins in, could well be Sarah. So let me know what you think about that idea. And yeah,
have you finished?
There we go. I have finished.
So, what's on your needles? This person is a teacher, and she's taught me all about the Jonestown flood in 1889, which was super interesting. I knew nothing about it. And the fact that she's from Jonestown should tell you... sorry, not Jonestown, Johnstown.
You just made it into Jonestown.
Yeah, I did. Is there a Jonestown? Do you live in Jonestown? If you do, let me know.
That's cool.
And so she taught me all about the Jonestown flood in 1889, which was really interesting. And she's a teacher, and they have bitterly cold winters where she works and lives. And what that means is school is often cancelled, and it gives her more knitting time.
Cool.
Yay, that sounds good. So, Hector, 1985, what's on your needles? That sounds like something from Ghostbusters. Hector, ectoplasm.
Yes.
Yeah. Hector, 1985. So that's Kate from Johnstown.
She must have been born in 85 then.
Yes. Yeah.
A youngster.
So she's 30. Sorry.
So she is.
I'm 40.
Yeah.
So you're doing great. No, I feel great. I'll talk about that some more in a minute. So Kate, come and show us, please, what's on your needles. And thank you so much for connecting on the group and teaching me all about the Johnstown flood. It's time for a brand new section.
Yay! Is it?
Yes. Ha 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 ha. See? Ha 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 ha. Is it?
I know
Is
nothing
it?
of this.
No. It's getting towards that time of year, isn't it? And we're going to be getting onto that in just a moment when we do What's in Your Oven.
Ah.
As much as we might not want to think about it, in a moment it's going to be November.
It is.
And if you wait another moment, you're going to be panicking for those Christmas gifts. And I don't know if you're like me, but do you have a certain someone in your life who maybe knitting is not quite for them? Maybe you've knit them stuff before and they haven't appreciated it. Looking at no one in particular. No, I'm joking.
What?
I'm joking.
When do I not appreciate
No.
stuff?
I'm meaning if, for example, you were Kay and I did not knit and I didn't like wearing knitted things, what could you get me for Christmas? People need Christmas ideas.
Right.
So, for the next few episodes, we're doing a new segment called What's Under Your Tree?
Oh,
Yes.
I have no idea about
And
this.
we're going to give everyone out there little Christmas gift ideas.
Wait.
Yes, we are. If you have a man or maybe a child in your life, and maybe it's not a man, maybe it's a lady who likes to build things,
Right.
and you're wondering what to get them for Christmas, I have an idea for you. Look at this. Look at this. This is the shuttle Tidarium, and
It's very cool.
it's very cool. I have this ship along with Nick Luda.
They move.
Yeah, they do. It's the engines. And you can lift up the front there, which is really cool. And that's Han Solo and Chewbacca you can see in there. And it's the new Chewbacca with the... it's the latest edition. The original edition is all one colour. This has got some lighter colouring on there as well. Also as well, you've got on the sides, you've got little doors either side. And on the inside there, there's like a crate with things in it. And also on this side, there's also some backpacks and a gun and 2 seats for the crew. And the crew is these guys here. This is from Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And that's a sort of older crewman guy. He's actually in the film. If you watch the film, there's a guy with a beard, grey beard. And here is Princess Leia in Endor outfit. So I'm super excited to have that one because I've not got that one.
I haven't seen that.
And also as well, Han Solo in
It's
Endor.
a little fabric cloak.
Yeah, I know.
Why is she carrying a cookie?
Because she's hungry. And Han Solo in
Look, she's got a cookie.
yeah. And if you don't finish your projects, then you get this. Whoa! Kay thinks it's iconic. It's one of those ones that you just associate with Star Wars and the Star Wars universe. And what I love about it is it can be used for good guys or bad guys. This is the shuttle Tidarium, so effectively it's Darth Vader's shuttle that he flies around in, but it gets stolen by the Rebel Alliance and used to attack Endor in Return of the Jedi. So it's a really good set to get because you could use it as bad guys and you could use it as good guys. And this would be a brilliant thing to get for that man in your life or that woman in your life who likes Lego. I'm thinking of Lucia Payne.
Nick Kimber-Knit.
Nick Kimber-Knit. There's a few ladies as well who would appreciate this. But seriously though, I'm terrible at Christmas, thinking what to get different people and stuff. So
Men particularly are bad to buy for, aren't they?
this really is good. And if you think about what's going to happen over the next few weeks with regards to Star Wars, it's going to light a fire in so many guys, remembering their child and remembering seeing these films with all the hullabaloo that's going to be around The Force Awakens. And it's a well-priced set, this. It's not stupid money, which is really good. So Shuttle Tidarium is our first idea for what's under your tree. Okay, give us a gift. You should see the panic in her eyes.
I didn't even know you were going to do this.
Kay'll do one next time.
Right, I will, apparently.
That's so cool. So now I've got you all in the Christmas spirit. I think we should go and make some Christmas chutney.
Oh,
Do
yes, yes.
Yes, that'll be nice. So let's go and smell all Christmassy.
So welcome everybody to What's in Your Oven. This time we're going to be cooking Christmas chutney, and it's a Delia Smith recipe. It's in her Christmas cookbook. It's just fabulous. Christmas wouldn't really be the same without this chutney, I don't think. We so look forward to it every year, and it's fantastic on, you know, anything from hot sausage rolls, turkey sandwiches, cheese and biscuits, you know, cold cuts, anything like that. But it's also fantastic with your breakfast. You know, if you're having scrambled eggs, you know, on a morning, maybe Christmas Eve morning, scrambled eggs on toast or a muffin. I honestly can't think of anything that it wouldn't be good on. So I hope you really enjoy it. And before we do that, we just thought we'd take you on a little trip around our local park, and then I'll see you back in the kitchen to start cooking. This is South Park. It was built in 1877 by Joseph Peace, who was a local railway pioneer. Thank you. There used to be, over to my right, which is now just a huge field. If you look across to the right, you'll see that huge expansive field where now they just play sort of football games and, you know, dog walking, as you can see dogs on there. It used to be a boating lake in sort of Victorian times, and we often walk across there, don't we, and just imagine what it must have been like, because it is huge. It would have been a really big lake, and this is only 10 minutes from our house. And when Bryony was little in the pram, we used to come, you know, 3-4 times a week. The far end, there's an aviary with some birds in, which is really nice, and then there's also a couple of bowling greens. And during the summer, you know, quite often we'd walk by and there'd be ladies and gentlemen bowling, which we used to just sit and watch. It was lovely. And there's a little cafe up there as well where we could get an ice cream or a drink. And because all the leaves are just such fantastic colours this year, I think because it's been so mild, that, you know, they've just stayed on the tree a little bit longer and turned, you know, such beautiful colours. So we just wanted to show you these two huge trees. There are several of these around the park, but they are giant redwoods. They're native of California, and I've just read that it says if they're in their native California, then they can live up to 3,500 years, which I think is just absolutely amazing. They were planted here in 1863 to commemorate the wedding of the future King Edward VII with Queen Alexandria. So, I mean, that's a really nice thing. And, I mean, they are absolutely ginormous if you look at them, because they've got kind of one central trunk and then lots of little trunks coming off it. They're absolutely enormous. And it does say that they are the world's largest, not tallest, but the world's largest living phenomenon. So I'm now just walking towards the bandstand, and they do still actually have concerts here during the summer. They've had various sort of little open air concerts, and Bryony still plays up on the bandstand. When she was really little, we used to go up there and play tig and all sorts of lovely games. Sorry, I'll go this way because you won't see me. And we presume it must have been here since the park was built, because we've seen photos. So I hope you enjoyed that little look at our park. We're just going to walk past the duck pond, I suppose it would be now, and go on to the shops to get our ingredients for our cooking. is actually a really simple recipe. The thing that takes the longest is the chopping of all the fruits, but I do that with I've just got one of those little mini choppers. It's not even a big food processor, and I just chop it in a couple of batches with each of them, and it doesn't really take that long to do. So the first thing we've got to do, I'll whiz you around the ingredients, but whilst we're going round those, we can be heating up our vinegar. So the first thing we do is we put 570 ml of cider vinegar. So that's a full bottle plus I've measured out 220 ml extra. So into a big pan, I use my cast iron Creuset pan always for this, which is well loved and well used. So that's 350 and that's the rest. So it's 570 ml altogether of cider vinegar. Put that on to heat, and then we add in salt and the ginger. Now this is going to look like a huge amount of salt. It's actually 50 grams. And I always use sea salt, you know, the really good quality sea salt. I use Maldon salt if you're in the UK. I find that the sea salt, it's not as harsh. You know, quite salt, just normal table salt can taste chemically, I think. But if you use sea salt, it's kind of sweet as well. And it's not as salty as normal table salt. So I always use sea salt. So we put our salt into the vinegar, along with the ginger. Now the ginger is actually on top of my onions, so all I'm going to do is just scoop it off. Doesn't matter if I don't get it all. And this is fresh root ginger, and there's a dessert spoon there, so we pop that in. The ginger, it was just chopped up like the rest in a food processor. All of your fruits for this, the recipe does say, needs to be chopped up very, very small. So when I used to make this, before I had a little food processor, I just used a pair of scissors and I just used to sit down and put something on the telly and just chop it, and it works perfectly fine, but it does take much longer. Whereas now, you know, with a chopper, that's the kind of texture you get. And you can customise this. Some years I've made it more chunky than others, but it's nicer, especially if you're going to put it on sandwiches, if it's a finer texture. So I tend to chop it so that I've got some little bigger bits and some that's really finely chopped. And then the last thing that we put into our pan, now this is where I'm a little bit different to the recipe. The recipe tells you to use allspice berries, the actual whole berries, which you can see here. Now, I find they're very hard to get hold of, the actual allspice berries. There is one shop we can get them in, but we haven't managed to get over to that particular shop. But I have used just the ground before, and it's been absolutely fine. So if you can't get hold of the actual allspice berries, now be careful with this. Allspice is not the same as mixed spice. Mixed spice is a combination of different spices, so there's like coriander, nutmeg, cloves, all mixed together. That's mixed spice. Allspice is a spice all by itself. It's a particular berry. It smells fantastic. I cannot tell you what this smells like. It is very Christmassy, you know, it's got all those sort of Christmas scents to it. It's fantastic. So what I do, instead of using the berries that it tells you to do, I just put in a teaspoonful of the ground allspice. And again, this is where you can customise it. If you want it more spicy, then put more in, but I find that a teaspoon is just about right. So that goes into the liquid as well. Now we bring that all to the boil. While that's bringing to the boil, I'll just give it a little stir just to distribute that allspice. Whilst that's coming to the boil, I'll just whiz you around the ingredients. We've got 350 grams of prunes, and they're the no-soak ones, the ones that are just ready to eat. 275 grams of dates, and these are stoned again, you know, the big stones have been taken out of the middle. 275 grams of dried apricots, again the ones that are ready to eat. 450 grams of onions, and mine's just got that bit of ginger still on top of it as well. And then 450 grams of demerara sugar. It looks like a vast amount of sugar, I know it does. It's almost a full bag of sugar. But you've got to bear in mind that this does make a big quantity, and effectively it's the sugar and the salt and the vinegar that preserve it. That's the three things really that act as preservatives. So don't panic when you see that amount of sugar, and really you only have little bits at a time. You might have a spoonful, on your pork pie, or spread a bit on your sandwich, so don't worry about it. And then the other ingredients we've already put in the pan. So we had 570 ml of cider vinegar, 50 grams of salt, a dessert spoon of grated or chopped, very finely chopped root ginger, and our allspice. Okay, so we're all ready to put those in. So while it's boiling, tell you that the way that we like to eat this particular chutney is we love it with sausage rolls, homemade sausage rolls, the Delia Smith ones that I've spoken about before, and it's also fantastic on turkey sandwiches. Do you know, on Boxing Day, where you always have turkey sandwiches, we always have turkey sandwiches with, you might have a slice of turkey, a slice of ham, other sort of leftover things in there, and then you put a blob of this on it. It's absolutely the best thing you will ever taste in your entire life, especially if you've got fresh bread, or that you've cut yourself, some really good quality bread. It's amazing. Okay, so our liquid is now boiling. As you can see, it's just coming to the boil, so we'll turn that down, and then basically all we do is we just pile everything in. All of the other ingredients just get piled in. So in go the onions, and it's when everything starts going in that I get that smell. And the other thing I will say is it will make your kitchen smell very vinegary, and I tend to shut the kitchen door, open the the back door to the garden, just so that it doesn't permeate everywhere in the house, because it will linger. Vinegar is just one of those scents, I think, that really does linger, but it is worth it. It really is worth it. Now this looks like huge amounts you're putting in, but it does cook down, and it makes a lot. So it's fantastic. The other thing that this is fantastic for is for gifts, I think. I have gifted this before at Christmas. It makes 4 good sized jars, like a good jam jar sized jar. I use some Kilner jars, which I'll talk about the jars afterwards once we've got this cooking. But if you were to use smaller jars, you could make 8 small jars of it. So just give everything a really good stir, and then basically all we do is you leave it uncovered, don't cover it up, and let it simmer away for about an hour and a half. It will change completely in consistency. If you look at it now, you can see all the individual ingredients in there. It will look completely different once it's been simmered. So leave it uncovered because you want it to reduce down, you want that liquid to reduce down, and just check on it. I tend to, when I'm cooking this, I tend to kind of sit in the kitchen with it, and every sort of 15 minutes I just come over and give it a little stir. So we'll come back, we'll let this, and when I say simmer, I'm sure everybody knows what I mean by simmer, but just in case, by simmer it means that, what I'd normally do is turn it up now until it starts bubbling, effectively till it reaches that boiling point, and then you turn it down, and a simmer is just where occasionally you just get a little blop of bubble coming up, so it'll just be going blub 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 blub. So we'll come back in about an hour and a half and see what it looks like when we're at that stage. Okay, so while our chutney is bubbling away, I'm just washing and getting the jars ready. Now I use the same jars every year. You can see Bryony put that on, what's that, 2 years ago? Look, she decorated the jars, bless her. So what you do to sterilise your jars, this is really important that you do this. If you don't sterilise your jars, then chances are, the shelf life of your chutney won't be as long, and it might even go off if you've not really sterilised them. So what we do is we wash them in hot soapy water. I tend to do it as hot as I can stand. Give them a really good wash, and then rinse them with just plain hot water, and then put them onto a baking tray. Obviously take out the rubber seals. If you've got any rubber seals in your Kilner jars, take them out because we don't want to put those into the oven, obviously, because they're rubber. And then we just put our jars into, like I said, a medium oven for just 5 or 10 minutes. And that will just eradicate any remaining, you know, little germies that we don't want in there. Okay, so we're done. We've sterilised our jars. These have just come out of the oven, so they're still hot, which is how we want them to be. Just let them cool a little bit, but they don't want to be cold. And I think, I mean, Delia doesn't say this in her book, but I think because we're putting the chutney into the jars when it's still hot, you know, it's just finished cooking. If we put hot chutney into cold jars, there's a chance that it's going to crack. Whereas if we put them into warm jars, they won't. And then the other thing is, if you seal them straight away when everything's still hot, it then creates a vacuum as it cools down. So here's our finished chutney. I hope you can see the difference from when we saw it before. It's now this kind of mass of just, oh my goodness. And this is, you know, I said recently about brown being such an underrated colour. Can you imagine a yarn in this colourway? Christmas chutney, oh my gosh. As long as you can sort of pull a little valley through like that and it doesn't fill up with any liquid straight away, which if you look at it you can see it doesn't, there's no rivers of liquid, then we are good to go. All we do now is we spoon it into our jars. So everything is still hot, so just take a bit of care doing this. I'll turn that around and move our jar up, and I just literally spoon it in. The jars that I use, I've used these for the last few years. These ones with the blue and green tops are some Jamie Oliver jars I bought years ago, and it's just become a little tradition for me to use these particular jars. In the recipe it does say to seal the top with a wax disc, and then obviously close your Kilner jar and just let them go completely cold before you put any labels on the front. But last year when I made it, I didn't have any wax paper, so I just sealed them without any wax paper, and they were absolutely fine. So I tend to fill it not but quite well to the top. I'm dribbling it everywhere. Okay, that's that one. So if you've got wax discs, I would put it on, but again, you know, I'm not completely prepared and I don't have those today, so that's that one full. So look, I've been really naughty and I'm actually trying it straight away because I just can't resist it. So I put tiny bits. This is Dan's cracker actually. I've just stolen a bit. So. It's so nice. You can totally eat it now. So here we are then. We've got it all jarred up. It's still hot, the jars are still warm, and we're sealing it. So I've got 2 of these huge jars plus 1 of these smaller ones. But if you've got smaller jars, then obviously, you know, you'd get more. Oh gosh, it is hot. So just seal it tightly, don't burn yourself, and let it go completely cold before you label it. As you can see, I've got an old label on there, so I'll just leave that on. But we're all done. That's one lovely job all ready, and you can tuck those away just in a cool pantry, or you know, you don't need to refrigerate them. You don't need to refrigerate these at all, even when you've opened them. You don't need to, because it's a preserve. And there we go. So I really hope you enjoy it. It is what, you know, I am quite passionate about this, you can probably tell. I really do love it, we both do. And I really hope you enjoy it.
Oh, I'm feeling all festive now.
Oh.
I want a sausage roll now and some pickle.
Oh.
But I can't have any, because how long does it have to sit for? You've already said.
A month.
Right.
But I plan on making it at the end of October, just in case I'm late making it.
And also, the longer it sits...
it keeps forever, effectively, really. It's a pickle, you know, it keeps... I don't know if it's indefinitely, but you've not got any worries about it expiring.
No. Well, I've remembered years where we've actually taken it on holiday with us in the summer.
In the summer,
Yeah.
Oh, it'll last for a few years without a problem at all.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, but it won't, because you will have eaten it.
So now we're feeling all festive. I think we should carry on our festive feeling, because at Christmas I like to eat sweets.
Ooh.
So it's time for what's in your sweetie jar.
Oh, that's yummy.
First.
I think you should go first.
My nails look like sweeties today.
They do.
So blue. Look what I've got.
Now then,
Tutti Fruities.
this is an absolute classic.
I'll hold it there because I was
Isn't
totally
it?
holding it. Well, I think it's a classic, yeah.
It is an absolute classic that has been around forever. I used to love these and Jelly Tots.
Jelly Tots, which are they're not quite the same Jelly
No,
Tots as they used to
a
be.
bag of Jelly Tots and a bag of Tutti Fruities was cheap. They're cheaper
Yeah.
than other sweets,
Yeah.
and just the best, especially the
Lovely.
red ones.
The lovely sweets, yeah. And this is what they look like. Bryony's eaten a lot of
Show them in the bag.
Oh yeah. Without the foil, can you see? This little square sweets, and they're kind of
Oh, it smells good.
I'll get a nicer looking one than that.
The great thing about round
Little
trees,
square sweets, and they're kind of crunchy on the out. They've got a crunchy shell, and they're sort of soft in the middle.
and the great thing about round trees is round tree started in York, which is my hometown, and I used to grow up smelling, not personally, used to grow up smelling sweets. So I think that probably was another thing that drove my love of sweets. Of course, round trees were bought by Nestle though, quite a few years ago.
I mean, the good thing about these is the different colours do taste different.
Yes,
Quite often with these sweets, they all kind of taste the same, don't they?
but these definitely
these
not.
all do taste different. Bryony likes the orange and purple ones, which is good because you don't like orange sweets.
I like orange chocolate, but not orange sweets. My favourite ones of these, without a shadow of a doubt, are the red ones, which are strawberry.
They're very orangey, the orange ones.
I mean, these, I said to Kay, and she said she was going to do these.
And the green ones are limey,
The sweet that you could like from these two are Skittles,
but they're not.
but they're
They're
way
much
better.
better than Skittles. I'm sorry to say that.
If you think
but
about it, a Skittle just
they are
tastes
much-
sweet, yes.
They are much better than Skittles. Ooh,
These these actually taste like the fruit that they're trying to taste like.
that one's completely
And they're
limey.
really strong.
Yellow is obviously lemon. They're so...
They're absolutely delicious. So get some Tutti Fruities.
It's even very helpful on the back and says that 10 sweets is equivalent to 1 serving. Not in this house, it's not.
Now, I wonder how many servings are in here.
It's enormous.
This has 2 kilograms. This is actually quite challenging to
It's
lift.
very heavy.
You can do weights on this and turn yourself up with them. These are licorice gums.
Oh.
Now they're obviously just all black because they're licorice. The reason why these are so cool
They're so
is
good.
in some sweets called midget gems, which we will cover at some point.
Can't stop eating Tutti Fruities.
Original midget gems are hard to find because you'll find knockoffs which are soft, and original midget gems are a harder gum.
Harder gum.
I mean, you can chew them, but you've got to work at it, and they get stuck between your teeth. The cheaper
It's
ones from the
fun.
supermarket,
Yeah, it's that kind of softer, squidgier, gummy sort of.
it's not as nice. Now, in the originals, you used to get a licorice flavoured one. Now, they changed it a little while ago because clearly some people were like, oh no,
Not licorice.
we don't want licorice. We want a different flavour.
We want blackcurrant.
They put blackcurrant in. No. Look,
Disaster.
if you don't like it, just don't eat the black ones.
Yeah.
I don't like orange ones, so I leave the orange ones. Don't eat the black ones. You can still find originals and the best, but it's rare. So what you do instead is you buy these original licorice hard gums by Lions, who we've spoken about already, who make great sweets, and
They're so good.
it's a gum, so it's chewy.
It's hard though, isn't it?
It's a very individual licorice taste. It doesn't
It
taste
is.
like.
No, it doesn't. They're very
It's different.
addictive.
I would imagine there would be people out there who don't like licorice that would like these.
Yeah. You see, I eat it and I don't get initially I don't get a licorice flavour, but they are incredibly addictive, you know.
They're very, very good.
There's a birthday present I got him. Can you imagine the postman coming with that in his post bag?
Out of these two,
Loved me.
I think I like Tutti Fruttis the best out of these two.
I'm happy
like them both.
I'm happy to eat both of those.
But if I would, that would be my go-to sweet out of these two.
Right.
This would be my indulgent sweet out of these
Well,
two.
they'll last you a while, won't it? 2 kilograms.
Kay Jones, what's off your needles?
I have 2 things this week, which is pretty good, isn't it? I didn't bring my sock blockers down, but it doesn't matter. I finished this pair of socks that I was working on. Can you remember I said I'd finish them in a couple of days? I finished them on the Monday. Because Dan was all like, oh, you got to finish them on Friday then. Well, I didn't, but I finished them Monday, so that's pretty good, isn't it? So, and I washed them. So these are now ready to go away with us, to wear with my PJs. And it was the West Yorkshire Spinners Blue Face Leicester DK. That was right, wasn't it? In lavender and old rose were the 2 colours, I'm pretty sure. So they're all done and lovely. So that's my first one. And then, oh my goodness, the second one, oh gosh. I finished Stampy Cat. Can you remember I was knitting it last time? There he is, yay, hello. He's very cute, look at his tail. I didn't do the trousers in the end because I ran out of steam. Really.
I also don't think Stampy wears trousers.
No, I mean, you know, it's fine, isn't it? And I started doing the colourwork jumper, but I thought, oh my gosh, I cannot do this because it's knit flat, so you have to do colourwork purling back. I find that, you know, very fiddly. I have done it before, but I don't enjoy it, and I just thought, I'm not doing this. So instead I did a plain jumper, but I stitched on afterwards. I Swiss darned S for Stampy.
Cool.
And Bryony loves it. So there he is. And the only other thing I did differently was, in the pattern, you do French knots for the eyes. And it's like an anchored French knot. And previously, with all the other ones of these I've done the French knot. And although it's fiddly, I've done it and I've not been unsuccessful at it. Just couldn't do it this time. It kept slipping through the fabric, you know, like it does. It just kept disappearing through the fabric. I tried 4 times to do it. I don't know why I couldn't get it to work this time. So I put beads in. I just said to you, didn't I, you know, I can't be bothered with this. I'm just going to put beads in like I do for my bears. Put them in, absolutely fine. I think it works really well, the little beady eyes. Because I do like using beads because it makes the eyes shine. You know, it's not flat and it gives it a bit of life.
Yeah.
That's why I like using beads. So this is the Julie Williams pattern, which is just called Boy Cat. So it's done, and I'm very glad it's done, and I can't imagine I'm going to knit one of these for a long time. I finished it off while we were watching Jurassic World.
Very good film. Enjoyed it.
Excellent film. I want to watch it again. I absolutely loved it. So I knit another swatch. The swatching continues with this yarn. I decided the other one that the gauge was just too off for me. And thank you to the people who messaged me, particularly Mina from Knitting Expat podcast. She sent me a really long message just saying, you know, about it, because she's knit the cardigan that I was talking about last time. And, you know, a number of other people sent me messages as well, so thank you so much. And in the end, I just decided it was just too much for my brain to handle, you know, my gauge being that different. So I did another swatch, this time for the Still Light Tunic by Vera Valimaki. And I've wanted to knit that for ages, and I didn't realise it was a sport weight yarn. So I swatched for it, and I've almost got, you needed 26 stitches, I got 25 and a half. My row gauge was out, but everybody said to me that the row gauge doesn't really matter so much, it's your stitch count. So I think when I get to it, I've got that many things lined up that I want to knit. I'm not sure when I will get to cast this on. It might not be till the new year, I don't know. But I did do another swatch, and the fabric's beautiful. I think it came out gorgeous, the fabric.
What's off your needles this week? She's working her way through the City and Guilds hand knit textiles course.
I didn't know you could do that.
Well, That's interesting.
Wow,
I'd be interested
I
to
didn't
know.
you could do that.
I'd be interested to know about that,
Yeah.
just in general.
That's amazing.
Maybe at the same time as showing us what's off your needles, you could also just mention a little bit about that course and tell us what it's all about. She's new to podcasts, and she loved our trip to Aysgarth, but it made her want to watch Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Well, that's a good thing.
Which is a really good thing. Did you? I bet you did. And yeah, she's super cool. She's recently joined the group, and she became a patron as well. And her name is Gemma. Gem Arrowsmith. What's off your needles?
Maybe that's her surname.
Come and show us. Yeah, maybe it is. Come and show us what's off your needles, but also tell us all about the City and Guilds Knit Textiles course.
Yeah,
That's super
sounds
cool.
Fascinating.
Yeah. It's time for what's on your stereo, Ken. And as this is Back to the Future month, and we're getting ready for Back to the Future Day, which is happening while we're away on holiday.
Yeah.
And our next episode will be very much a Back to the Future themed episode. It will indeed.
Nice.
So, because that will come out not long after Back to the Future Day. Back to the Future Day is, of course, the day that Marty travels to in Back to the Future 2.
Yes.
Yes. And the funny thing about Back to the Future 3 is he goes to the year that Kay was born. No, he's 1885.
Will you ever get bored? Will you ever get bored of going on about how old I am?
No.
I hope so. Because,
I will.
Honestly.
What's on your stereo?
Can people hear it?
Well, I have to be careful.
Oh, right.
I'm going to post in the What's on Your Stereo thread, and you're obviously going to talk about it, and I'm also going to stick a link to the video in the YouTube thread down below, so they'll be able to go and listen and find out exactly what was on your stereo.
Oh, I've been kind of in 80s mode.
Well, of course we are, because it's Back to the Future.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why. But this is, I don't know why I was reminded of this band. I can't remember.
I started talking about it.
Did you start talking about
Yes.
it?
We've been listening to
And
a
I
lot of 80s
remembered,
stuff.
I remembered that I used to love them. And it's Scritti Politti. Can anybody remember Scritti Politti?
Do you know who they are?
Do you even know what I'm talking about? And there was one song in particular, we were out walking the other day and I was like, oh, I'm sure it's called that. And I thought, no, I've not remembered right. And I was totally right when we came back and checked.
Yeah.
And this one that's playing just now is called Absolute. And that's the one that I remember. It's quite I don't know what you would call the genre of...
It's 80s pop.
Yes, it is. It's got that kind of synthesized sound
which
to
is
it.
what was massive in the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, just look, it's just, I think it just, songs like this just bring back memories, don't they? And then we went down the playlist, didn't we, of other songs that they'd done. Oh,
yes.
We're not mentioning the other ones.
You can mention more Scrittability stuff.
There was another Scrittability, wasn't there, called, what was it called?
Well,
something.
the one that I know, the one that is just a superb piece of production and from a musician's point of view is exceptional. It's called Perfect Way.
Oh, right, it wasn't that one I recognised.
I love that track. So when we both started thinking about Scrittability, I was thinking about that track and Kay was thinking about this one.
Yeah, but I loved it. It's just one of those songs that just made me smile when I started listening to it. It's like, oh gosh, I remember this song. And
takes you back.
Yeah, and I was a teenager and all those kinds of things. So if you've not heard it and you don't know of Scrittability, then just go and download Absolute is the one that I love.
Or go to your local record shop or go to your second-hand record shop actually and dig through a record or a CD, because you're going to find this type of thing in your local record shop.
Oh my gosh.
Now I thought for what's on my stereo this week I should actually pick up on some of the stuff that is on my stereo every day. As we've established in recent episodes, I'm doing an awful lot of running at the moment, and I do sometimes just get a little bit sick of... What I actually find is if I'm thinking about things, if I'm sort of caught up in stuff, then music sometimes doesn't work for me because I find my mind drifting onto things I don't really want to think about when I'm running. So whenever that happens, I do always drop onto a podcast and I'll listen to an audio podcast as I'm running. But 90% of the time, I listen to music. And I think it's so important. We've spoken about this actually before on What's on Your Stereo. If you pick the right music, it can help you do the task that you're doing at that moment. And obviously, if you're doing running, you want something that's going to up your heart rate. Because naturally, as humans, our heart rate adjusts to the music that we're listening to, which I think is just super interesting. And St Elmo's Fire, John Parr, who I think is from Hull in the UK.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. A friend of mine met him once, and he was still playing. I mean, relatively recently, in the last 5-6 years, and he's still playing the same tune.
Oh gosh.
But
really?
he said it was amazing. He just performed it amazingly well, and it just sounded superb. And I like that. I like when people accept the fact that they nailed it, on one tune, and people want to hear that, and you should just get on with it and play it.
Some people are funny about it, aren't
Oh,
they?
they absolutely are.
Yeah.
But St Elmo's Fire, Man in Motion, from, of course, the film. What's it from?
St Elmo's Fire.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I'm being stupid. For a second, I started thinking of The Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah, same time, isn't it?
St Elmo's Fire to run to is just a brilliant tune. But actually, if it's a morning and you may be feeling a little bit sluggish and you want to get yourself going, sticking on a tune like St Elmo's Fire is a really good move. And it's just a brilliantly produced tune. Excellent studio production, great musicians, really good song. It's cool. Okay, what else?
Oh my
is on
gosh.
your stereo?
This is just one of those songs. It's totally silly song, isn't it? The lyrics are completely ridiculous. I couldn't have even remembered. There you go. The title of the song, because I don't call it that. But the band is Prefab Sprout. Yeah, right. Where did that name come from? Who knows? I mean, gosh. And it's the king of rock and roll, but I always call it Hot Dog Jumping Frog.
Yeah.
Because
the chorus.
Yeah, Hot Dog Jumping Frog, Albuquerque. I mean,
No,
it's like being
I'd love to sit down with the guys from Prefab
eating
Sprout.
dodgy mushrooms or something when he wrote this song.
I'd love to sit down with him and say, how did you come up with that?
Yeah.
Did you just sit down and try and think of a load of things that rhymed?
Maybe
Of
so.
course they did.
Maybe so.
That used to happen an awful lot.
But I mean, Bryony loves this song as well because it's just so silly, isn't it? The lyrics are so silly. But again, it's just one of these iconic songs for me anyway that just takes me back to that time. And the world, I think, was so different back in the 80s as well, compared to now. Everything feels very dated when you look at things from the 80s, don't they? More so than going back to like the 50s, I think, in a way. It's strange.
Yeah.
But it was like a time when lots of things were changing, I think, wasn't it? Things like, technology-wise, a lot of things were changing.
Yeah, mobile phones, the size of bricks.
Yeah, all that.
Houses, more like, actually, not even bricks.
Yeah, and I just think my teenage years were so different to teenage years now. Just listening to the charts, was it a Saturday or a Sunday night? I forget, on the radio.
The charts was a Sunday night.
Sunday night, I used to sit in my bedroom and listen to the charts, and I used to record certain ones.
Yeah,
I used to have
we all
my
did that.
tape player.
That's the way you made a mixtape. You waited for the songs that you wanted, and then
just recorded those.
I remember the radio that I used to use that on. The other thing I used to do with that same
mine
radio.
Mine used to squeak.
Right. Yeah. They
As
needed
the
oil.
real, so.
The other thing I used to do with that same radio at the same time was I used to tune into American Armed Forces radio to listen to the American football. So, King of Rock and Roll, Prefab Sprout, another great track. What is on my stereo? Well,
oh god,
this is another tune that I like to listen to when I'm running. It gets the heart pumping, makes you smile, and the reason why I picked this is for a couple of reasons. First thing is the film that this is from. I think it came out in the 80s. In fact, I'm 99% sure it came out in the 80s. That film was called This Is Spinal Tap. And the band is, of course, Spinal Tap, which is a fictional band created by so amazing guys. Michael McKean, who you will have seen if you've seen the Breaking Bad spin-off. What was that called? Better Call Saul. He's Saul Goodman's brother, his elder brother, Michael McKean. Also, as well, it's Jamie Lee Curtis's husband. He plays a character called Nigel Tufnell. I can't remember his name at the moment. There's also as well the bass player Derek Smalls, and he's one of the main voices on The Simpsons.
Oh.
And then famously they had lots and lots of drummers. One of the drummers in it was a guy called, who I'm sure you'll all know, called Ed Begley Jr.
Oh my gosh, is
yeah.
he a drummer?
No. He could play because he played in this, but it's a film that if you're a musician you really get, and some people will enjoy it and other people won't enjoy it. So I'm certainly not recommending the film, but what I am recommending is the music. The music that they pull together is just great fun, and the track that I listen to every day is The Majesty of Rock, and the reason why I remember this song so well is they performed it at the Freddie Mercury Memorial Concert.
Oh, gosh.
And they came on stage, and basically the sound went haywire, and it was an absolute disaster for a few minutes. They held it together brilliantly well, performed the song, and it was just amazing. And I'll never forget that because I was really young. I think in 1990, around that time, or 1991, that the Freddie Mercury Memorial Concert happened. So I listened to Spinal Tap and St Elmo's Fire every day. It's on my running playlist. And K's this week are Absolute by Scrittability and The King of Rock and Roll by Prefab Sprayer. It's time for me to ask someone what's on their stereo, and I picked a specific person. Whilst having a caesarean section, Everything I Do It For You came on. I love the fact that this was on, the consultant had the radio on whilst doing a C-section.
Gosh! A lot of surgeons do that. They have music on, don't they?
That rocks! Yeah. And the surgeon suggested, whilst delivering her son, why don't you call him Robin?
So she did?
I don't know. Isabel,
right.
You need to tell us. Did you call him Robin? I'm guessing maybe you didn't, but if you did, that'd be immense.
That'd be cool. Or maybe Kevin.
She's from Derbyshire.
Isabel, whereabouts are you in
It's
Derbyshire?
Well-Woman. Well-Woman.
Yeah.
Isabel from Derbyshire.
Tell me whereabouts you are in Derbyshire, because you know I love Derbyshire.
Yes.
We're going back soon.
So I just love that story. So thank you so much for sharing that story, Isabel. And I'm desperate to find out what's on your stereo. And also I'm more desperate to find out what you call your son. It's time for the Endy Bits, isn't it?
The Endy Bits.
Yes.
Right. Cool. Let me get my box of Endy Bits. I have a sophisticated system of a cardboard box. And I go through, I keep a box in my office, and then through the 2 weeks, if I've got anything I need to talk about in Endy Bits, I just pop it in the box, and then I know that I won't, forget anything. And I've also got my list today as well, so we have a 2-tiered approach to Endy Bits. So the first thing is a couple of purchases. I mentioned the yarn I got from Molly, the lovely Halloween yarn, and when she sent me the package, I honestly didn't expect anything else, Molly. I really, really didn't. I was more than happy to just get the yarn that I'd bought. But of course, because she's lovely, she sent me an extra skein of yarn. And it's beautiful. It's her Dale fingering, and my best friend Sarah, who lives in Sheffield, who's coming to our party, so we're going to see her soon. Her surname is Dale. So when I saw this, it just, that's another reason I was so happy. And it's the blush colourway, and it's 100% merino, super, super majorly soft. And look at the colour. Is it not completely me? It's this beautiful shade of pink with little hints of like a lavendery, would you say? Can you see that sort of purpley shade in there? It's really, really beautiful. And there's 438 yards, and I do have plans for this, Molly. So yeah, I do have plans for it. It's beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for doing that. It was really kind of you.
I'm going to show this.
Are you going to do it next?
Yes, yes.
Do that,
So here is my present from Deb.
Yeah.
And it's just the best. I mean, it's the best. It feels great. It looks great. She's nailed the colourway.
Yeah.
I mean, first class nailed the colourway. This is just the business. If you
Let me hold it up,
remotely got into the whole Roman thing, if you want to get a feel for the colours that you get around Hadrian's Wall, this is it. I mean, it could not be more perfect.
And that's the DK weight.
Bring out a range of Oh, you could bring out a range of Roman yarns, Roman colourways, because the purples of the
It's gorgeous.
Of the emperors, and there's so many vibrant colours attached to and a battlefield one.
Yeah,
that would be so cool because it could have flecks of red on it and all sorts.
It's a bit gruesome, isn't it?
It could be the business. I'd buy them. But Deb, just thank you so much.
It's fantastic.
Thank you so much. What am I going to knit with these? Well, one of them has to be a bankhead.
I said that to Deb. I said
it has to be. She's made
He'll
it.
be knitting a bankhead.
I want to have a bankhead, and maybe
we've got 3 skeins of that.
Oh, I'll have to have a think. I'll have to have a think.
I know.
But thank you so much.
It's fantastic, and so like I said before, Deb will be dyeing some of that up for a shop. So just watch out on Instagram. I'm sure she will post on there when she's done it and it's in the shop. The next little purchase I made, I saw some socks being knit by lovely Sarah, who is Sherlock Knits on Instagram. If you don't follow Sarah, then you should, because she posts some fantastic pictures of her knitting.
And also of her washing.
And all sorts of things as well. And she runs, so lots of, and she lives...
posts lots of pictures of One Direction t-shirts that are hers. I'm telling you.
Yeah, she's got 2 lovely little girls. And she posts pictures of the area where she lives, which is a beautiful area.
She inspires me to run because we're on a leaderboard together on Runkeeper, and there's been a couple of times where she's been ahead of me on activities in a week, but I'm nailing it this week, sister.
Yeah. And I didn't know for ages, but she's a doctor, is Sarah. And I didn't know, Sarah, you were a doctor till fairly recently, because you messaged Dan about something.
Involved with palliative care, and this country's just been, I'm sure it's just been said that this country's got the best palliative care in the world.
And I would love Sarah to be my doctor. I think she would be absolutely amazing. But she was knitting these socks with some black yarns, and I saw them, I was like, oh, I really love the look of those socks. It's a green pair of socks, and she's knitting it with, I can't remember the mix, it's mohair and, I don't know if it was Hebridean, or I can't remember the exact mix that you were knitting yours with, Sarah, but it's black yarns and it's Manx, it'll be Manx Lockton, won't it? Manx Lockton with mohair, so it's 50% Manx, 50% mohair, 4-ply. I thought, because mohair is like nylon, isn't it? It's nature's nylon. So I thought they should be really sturdy with 50% nylon. And I got the colourway...
Could you make mohair stockings then?
Gosh, you could, but they'd be a bit itchy, wouldn't they? What's the berry that goes into gin? Sloes. The colourway is called Sloe, S-L-O-E. So I've got 2 skeins of this. Doesn't it look lovely? It's so shiny. I don't know if that's coming across, how shiny that is. So I'm going to knit some socks with that at some point, because I just love those socks that Sarah was knitting. When I did the swap, like I said, I did a couple of swaps with lovely bag makers in America. One of them I've spoke about, which was lovely Sasha, and then the other one I did a swap with Susan. I always want to call you Rista, which is ridiculous, isn't it? Because that's not your name, that's your Instagram. Susan is Rista1313 from Girl Cave Bags. So we did a little swap as well.
Thanks for my bag, Susan. It's upstairs. It's got my pot projects in. It will be my pot bag.
Susan sent a bag for Dan as well.
And also thanks, Mr. Chicken, for the amazing picture which is on my office wall.
He drew a picture, of Obi-Wan Knitter. It's fantastic. And Susan knit me a shawl as well, and I wore that actually on a little podcast we did for the patrons on the books that we did recently.
We've started a new little video, a new patrons video, and it's all about books.
Yeah.
So the Bakery Bear Book Club happens once a month, and that's it happens whenever the pop show's not on. So pop show happens once a month, and I
wore it on there, and beautiful blues. It's like an asymmetrical one. It's just perfect. I only didn't put it on today because it was super chilly and I wanted something a bit more squooshy around my neck. But this is the bag that she made me. Look! Isn't it pretty? Little woodland, and that side's got a beautiful fox on, and mushrooms and squirrels. It's a fantastic size. I'm not going to show you what's in here because it's my pot project. It's another pot project, but I wanted to show you the bag. So she totally overdid the parcel. I sent her a parcel, obviously, but I got much more than she sent me, and she's like, don't worry. So thank you, Susan. It was fantastic. I love that bag. And then just the last couple of things, I wanted to just mention the knit along for the Duchess of Devonshire. Got it on today because, like I said, it's chilly and I wanted something nice around my neck. It finishes on the 31st of October. There's loads of chatter going on in the chatter thread, so thank you so much. I have been looking at everything, but I've just been a bit behind on commenting, but I did do that this morning. I went through all the posts and because I wanted to comment on all of your lovely shawls that you're all knitting on. There are a few finished objects as well, which are beautiful. So, but I'll just remind you that if you haven't finished it come the 30th of October, don't worry about finishing it. Just post a picture of your work in progress on the finished object thread and that will count towards the prize that I'm going to do. I said I was going to sew up a bag. I'll get a tea towel from Chatsworth and I'm going to sew up a bag from there. And there was some Eucalan as well, which I've been using. It's really lovely. The last thing I wanted to mention was just bag update. I didn't do one last week, but there will be one this coming Saturday, which is the 17th, I believe. Usual time, 7 o'clock UK time, and I've done some bags and there's some other smaller things in there that'll be in there as well. And then just on the sewing front, I just wanted to let you know that I won't be sewing in December. The only reason is that I don't want to post anything in December.
We don't want your lovely packages to go
No.
missing.
Everybody knows December is just a nightmare for posting anything, especially to different countries. So I took the decision that I would take the month off, enjoy the festive season.
But we have some, I'm so excited about what's coming in December. We have a wonderful plan. So some of that time that you will have free, yes.
What we spoke about this morning?
Some of the Patron's content.
Oh,
yes.
right. But with regards to getting bags in the shop, the last shop update will be towards the end of November. I'll let you know when we get closer to it. So, patrons, you will have a bag update in November as normal, but there won't be one in December because I just don't want to risk things going missing, with all the Christmas madness. Last thing was just to let you know that some new t-shirts went in the shop.
Yeah,
last week.
It's taken us a long time to find the right supplier and the right quality of product. We absolutely have. We're really happy with them. They went on sale when? Last weekend, I think it was. And we didn't publicised it initially just to the patrons.
Yeah, just to give them an opportunity first of all, and then it's now. They're in there if you want to go and have a look and grab one. We didn't get a huge number. I think we've sold half of what we got, but there are still some in there. And
the plan was to use this as the gauge as to how we then shape the stock in the shop moving forward. So
yeah, there will be other products, won't there?
Yes.
But this was one thing we knew that people liked, and because we've changed the design of it and things, we think it's more wearable.
Yeah.
Than the last.
It's just a cool product.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And I think that's everything on my list. I never have a list, do I? So I apologise that I've been looking down, but I just didn't want to forget everything, and I have mentioned everything on my list.
I wanted to thank everyone for your lovely birthday wishes.
Yay!
Thank you so much last week for all your birthday wishes, and
happy
also
birthday.
thanks. And people who sent me cards as well, thank you so much for that. And it was just lovely to get
I had a lovely
all the
day.
things.
Did you have a lovely day?
I did. It was really good. We went out for a meal to a restaurant that we hadn't been to in a long time. So we had a wedding reception, and it's a fish restaurant. And I'm not a foodie at all, but the food was amazing. I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And I got this cool thing. Which is just a business. It's like a Celtic bracelet type thing, and it's got a silver thing on it, and on the silver thing it's got all our names engraved, which is really great. And I got lots of cool things. So I had a really good day, and 40's cool. I don't feel any older at all. Kay was like, oh, you're feeling a bit down because you're 40. No, I'm not. I'm feeling grateful that I had a 40th birthday, and I shall enjoy every birthday after today.
Yes.
You're as old as you feel, and I feel fitter than I ever felt.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. Yes.
I spoke about this last time,
Yes,
didn't I?
you
But
did.
I hadn't got it. But look what I've got. Dun, dun, dun. Look how enormous it is. You all know what it is. It's my Opal advent calendar. I mean, it's massive. Look. And, well, how much am I dying to just open these little doors? I can't tell you. I've had to put it right on the top shelf in my office because I just want to push open the windows and get out the mini skeins. And I know quite a lot of you went out and found it and have ordered it, and I know it was pricey. I think it was pricey as well. But I just think for the fun element in December, it's just going to be fantastic. So every day when I'll post pictures, I'll open the little door and I'll show you the yarn, and then I'm going to knit a square into my blanket. So anybody else that's got one that wants to do that, then, come and join in.
Cool.
Yay.
Thank you all so much for watching episode 35.
Thank you.
The
I hope you're all going to make your chutney.
Yes, the return of what's in your oven. And yeah, it really does make our Christmas, so go and make it.
Yeah.
You won't regret it.
No, I don't think you will.
Next episode 36, sees the return of Nana Wendy.
Gosh.
Who knows what's going to happen? So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And next week, we're back next week, of course, with the Pop Show. So patrons, we'll be back on Friday with the Pop Show. If you'd like to see the Pop Show, just head over to our Patreon page and sign up as a $5 or more patron, and you'll get access
So there'll
to
be
the
a
Pop
favourite
Show.
places to knit on the next one, will there?
Yes.
Yes. Just to remind people, I couldn't remember. Because we're going away, I couldn't remember what we were doing.
Yeah. Well, there'll be a new Bakery Bears news out. Not next week, the week after next. We'll be editing that next week, and then it'll come out the week of. It'll come out. It might be slightly late actually coming out just because we'll be away.
Yeah.
So I'll probably put the next Bakery Bears news out the same day we publish episode 36.
Which will be a few days late.
Episode 36 won't come out on the Friday, it will come out on the Monday. So what date is that?
I will tell you because I have my planner.
Aha! At last we find a use for it.
Oh, shush yourself. Right, we come back on the 30th. The Monday is the 2nd.
So the podcast is due out. Episode 36 is due out on the 30th, but the podcast will actually come out
Monday the 2nd.
Monday the 2nd of November. So Monday the 2nd of November will be episode 36. That will be with Nana Wendy and a special favourite places to knit, and the Bakery Bears news for all patrons will come out on that day as well. So without further ado, thank you for watching, and I'm going for a lie down. Not really.
We do kind of need to lie down afterwards, don't we?
Time for lunch.
Oh yeah.
See you next time.